The reason why you're stuck at a few $1,000s a month and haven't been able to consistently scale past this, even when you know what to do, is because you're acting from pressure rather than alignment. What that means is when you act, it's not from your own vision, clarity, or purpose. Instead, it's from the pressure, which is ever changing in your situation. I'm going to tell you a story to back that point. So when I was first making a few $1,000s a month in October of 2023, the reason I did it was majorly an emotional issue. And then from there until recently, I scaled up and down from 3 to 10 and even farther $1,000 a month without any consistent sustainability. I then figured out it was because in my confidence, kept changing, like when you change the pressure that you're putting, imagine, against a wall. You're putting your fist against a wall, and as you push harder and harder and harder, it's obviously going to feel different. Well, it was the exact same thing in my business. It was because my action was directly correlated to my internal expectation of what somebody else might think of me, or the care that I had for their expectation and their perception of me. Meaning I either had external or internal pressure to change and very little confidence. Therefore, I had no sustained, consistent growth and personal growth because I was living in a state of chaos rather than consistency and confidence. What you need to do to be able to change that is first define who you are. That's tough. But how you do this is through first asking yourself, who do you want to be? What values, beliefs, and skills do they have? Values are how you do something. So for example, do you want to be an expert communicator? You want to be somebody who optimizes their health, and that's what they optimize for. For beliefs. A belief is a perceived truth in the world that was created from a condition that was set. For example, in school, if a teacher tells you you can't use your notes on a test, you try to use your notes, she takes the test, takes your notes, doesn't let you take another one, you got a 0. It's the same thing with beliefs in your business, in your life. So you have to ask yourself, what type of person who is making $15,000, $20,000 a month in new sales, what beliefs do they have? It's that simple. And finally, the skills. Skills are just soft or hard sets of behavior. A hard skill, maybe that's something like writing. A soft skill, well, that's something a little more transferable or harder to grasp. But to put it simply, it's something like emotional intelligence, social acuity. For example, have you ever been able to feel what somebody else is trying to say, what their intentions are, and how that correlates to the context of your situation and conversation? If you can, you have a certain level of social acuity and awareness. If you don't know what these exact traits are, I would recommend speaking with somebody who's an expert in your field. For example, if you're a video editor, go to somebody who's a video editor, or somebody who at least runs some sort of service-based business that's making more money than you and is in the position you want to be. From there, define what sort of vision you have in the short term and in the long term. What does that look like? Well, in the short term, there's immediate consequences that you don't want to face. For example, if I don't put in the work, then I'm not going to be able to live in this house in Arizona, and I'm going to have to fly back or be homeless. I'll fly back to where I lived before. So, at a certain point, that's just going to have to happen. Even if I'm really frugal and spend a while here, then eventually, and I want to be able to keep living here, right? So, not just here, I want to keep traveling and adventure. And to do that, the immediate action I have to do is certain things, and I have to act certain ways to be able to get there. And then in the long term, you want to have a general conception of what your vision is. For example, for mine is to be able to build an in real life community of highly intelligent and physically active individuals. And to do that, I have to be able to be the type of person who's able to connect and lead that to be a reality. Of course, these things can always change, and as you experience life, these things will change. But you can stay in constant awareness of this and awareness of what these immediate consequences are, as well as your long-term vision through reflective periods. So if you don't already do this, then I would recommend once a week or once every other week, have a few hours where you just reflect over what you do and why you do it and the experiences you went through, because that'll keep you aware, that'll keep you grounded, and then that'll keep you from being held back in your business and staying stuck, because you have the awareness, presence, and you're grounded, so you can make proper decisions and you're developing the right beliefs and skills so that way you can continue to grow. From there, I would reevaluate every month or every few months, look at what are the actual actions I need to do that are the highest leverage in my business. Typically, you have a constraint in the business, and then you have to tie that to a certain strategy that you're using, whether it's your own mental effort, it's your schedule, it's your operating system, or it's something simple in your business like pricing, sales, the model, delivery, or lead generation. And then test, show up, stay prepared, act in alignment with the values that you have, and instead of acting from pressure and what ifs, stay aligned, and you're going to be able to grow. If you want to be able to have help defining exactly what these are so you can build a simple system in your business that helps you operate at a high level, like the entrepreneurs that are making 20, 30, 50K a month, click the top link in the description and you can join my free private community where you're going to get access to other entrepreneurs like that, as well as myself, where we're going to dive deep on exactly how you can implement this advice from the video.